See, what is definition of export? This is a very good stage to explain the definition of export. Only two things. Goods or service should leave the country and payment should come in foreign currency.
Yeah, correct.
That's it. There is no bigger definition of exports than this, right? So, foreign currency, when it would come to India, government realized that, okay, this situation of crisis we will come out of. So, we should have good foreign exchange reserves.
Global positioning of Indian exports. Like, how do you think we have positioned ourselves as a country for global exports, and where do we stand right now as far as you can tell? And, where do you think there's a significant gap or anything like that which you see?
See, we got independence in 1947.
Correct.
China had a cultural revolution in 1949. Most of the Chinese strategic thinkers, they believe that India was 20 years ahead of China at that time. But today, China is quite ahead of India, right? We opened our economy in 1991. China opened their economy in 1981. And they opened very fast. It took us almost 10 years to really open. So we were a license Raj economy. There was only one scooter you could buy, right? And you had to wait for 3 years.
Right.
And if you have foreign currency, you have to wait for 1 year. Today, the same scooter company comes to your home and says, here is the scooter, pay in 5 years installment without interest. So, when an economy opens, this is what happens, and this is about competitiveness. So, in Indian case, what happened is, when our economy opened, we were always used to, that generation of business which today has reached SMB level, were always used to a controlled economy. And exporting, like even if I still remember my early days of my career, to go to foreign country, to get foreign exchange, you had to take approval.
Wow.
So why would I go with all those hassles to do marketing? And you would get only a restricted amount of money. There was a ceiling because our foreign exchange reserves was very low. Why did we open in 1991? Because we had 3 days of foreign exchange left.
Yeah.
And we had to sell a shipload of gold to Bank of England. And that is why we opened. If that would not have happened, we would still not have opened perhaps. So, which means we didn't have foreign exchange. So, there was a restriction. If I have to go travel abroad to do marketing and I have to carry $5,000, it was a big thing for me to get approval. So, where is the question of marketing? Right?
We started from those days. Approval mil jaye, wahi badi baat hai.
So, it starts from there. But the things changed very fast. So then, Government of India, for many years since 1962, had set up many export promotion councils.
Okay.
But because it was a restricted economy, their role was also restricted. But as we opened up, these export promotion councils became quite active and aggressive, and people started becoming member and started getting knowledge and information, and then started exporting because government India wanted foreign exchange. See, what is definition of export? This is a very good stage to explain the definition of export. Only two things. Goods or service should leave the country and payment should come in foreign currency.
Yeah, correct.
That's it. There is no bigger definition of exports than this, right? So, foreign currency, when it would come to India, government realized that, okay, this situation of crisis we will come out of. So, we should have good foreign exchange reserves. Those days, if I'm not wrong, we had hardly $500 million of reserve. Today, we have $700 or $800 billion of reserves.
Wow.
Right. So export push started from there, then onwards. And Indian companies, a small percentage of Indian companies understood that, it is actually exporting is easier than doing business in India.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've loved the clients who pay in dollars. Because even if they are irritated, I'm okay with it because I'm earning in dollars.
Correct. I always use this logic. I tell people, are you interested to earn 1 rupee or 80 rupees? Because $2 rupee is 80.
Yeah. Effort is this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you make your decision.
Right.
And as what another very interesting social thing happened, going back to my definition of competitiveness. These small medium enterprises, as they started doing well in India, their children went to study abroad.
Okay, interesting.
earlier even to study abroad would require a RBI permission because you have to get dollars to pay fees.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And therefore, these children, they freely started going abroad to study. And they learned that what the world is doing.
Right.
From the technology point of view, from management point of view,
Okay.
from competitiveness point of view. And when they finished their education, because their family businesses were quite large, it did not make sense for them to work there. Some of them worked there for some time to learn, but then they came back to India to join their family businesses. And when they joined their businesses, they had this global perspective simply because they lived in another country for 2-3 years.
Right.
And they built a network, they understood, they merged with the society. Their classmates who were also working in some companies or doing business. So their network was like that. And they started thinking that, okay, this business was started by my father or mother. I am joining. What is it? What am I doing in this company? It is their business. So they, in order to create a self-identity, they said, I should do something which my company is not doing, which is exports.
Right.
And they had this global perspective. So this is a very big social change which happened in our society. That these youngsters then started telling the parents that let us get into export.
So a combination of the market opening up plus export council plus a lot of students who've studied coming back.
Yes.
In large or small
Yes.
companies.
Yes. And also a realization that Indian market is becoming more and more competitive. See, if you take example of t-shirt, the t-shirt you are wearing.
Yeah.
Now the center of manufacturing of t-shirt as a cluster is Tirupur,
Okay.
near Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu, right? There must be around 2,500 factories who make t-shirt there.
Okay.
Now, if you are doing business of t-shirt in India, you are going to compete with 2,500 companies, and there are other companies in all over India making t-shirts, maybe 5,000 companies in total. But out of those 5,000 companies making t-shirt in India, hardly 100 must be exporting in those days. So your competition straight away goes down. Now you may say, okay, but global competition increases. But India itself is very low on labor cost. Such type of a product is very labor oriented.
You'll always have a cost advantage.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but your competition has suddenly decreased from 5,000 to 100. There is more likelihood of you getting business. So this understanding started coming, and people realize that actually when sometimes by hook or crook, I have some family friend or relative who said, send me 500 t-shirts. I sent. But then I saw, it is so hassle-free to do business in export. and I got addicted to it. I said, then I started marketing. I said, okay, this order came by default. It's not really an order. But then let me try to get from unknown people.
So this is the historical context. But even then, right, if you compare, say, a smaller country like Indonesia or Bangladesh, even for that matter, they actually beat us out in these traditional industries, right? Why is that gap present? I've never understood that, because I've always been surprised by that how come in those specific industries those gaps are present?
No, so see, every country has its competitive advantage.
Okay,
and a competitive positioning.
Okay.
Now let's take example of Bangladesh.
Okay.
So Bangladesh was an underdeveloped country. The leading economies in the world, which if you have to say is US, Canada, Europe, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, these are very high per capita income countries, high GDP countries, developed countries. They came out with a policy that underdeveloped country, whatever products they export to these developed countries, the import duty will be zero. And India got into a developing country category. And therefore, there was an import duty on India.
Wow. Okay.
So straight away, there was a differentiation of lending price.
Okay.
So they wanted to promote. Why? Because they wanted to tackle poverty through business. They said these are underdeveloped countries, extremely poor countries. Let us promote trade with them so that the trickle-down effect, the economies will prosper. And actually it happened in case of Bangladesh.
Very nice.
Right. So that is why the Bangladesh, and you will be surprised. Let me give you an example of jeans. the jeans you are wearing.
Right.
I'll give example of whatever you are wearing.
Sure. Huh?
Now these jeans, I'm sure these jeans must have been made in Bangladesh.
Okay.
Why? But the fabric goes from India.
Okay.
So the denim jean fabric goes from India to Bangladesh.
Okay.
It is made in Bangladesh and exported to US.
Okay.
So US companies are mandating them that I am giving you jeans order because the jeans stitching is about labor. Labor is very cheap in Bangladesh.
Okay.
I am giving you the order, but they also mandate that the fabric has to come from this company in India. Even company they mandate, because Indian companies have positioned themselves to these large importers, saying that why
our fabric is good.
Our fabric is good. So it's a mandated business. There is a back-to-back LC mechanism which works. So in a way, you may say that Bangladesh export is happening, but then the fabric is from India. So India's fabric is going.
Okay.
And so like this, every country, there is a historical perspective, there is a economic aspect to it, there is a strategic aspect to it, there is a diplomatic aspect.
So even if there is a gap, you'll have to not look at it at the face value itself, is what you're saying.
Correct. You have to go deep and see the reason. Now, at the same time, if suppose an Indian company needs to beat Bangladesh company on jeans export, not fabric, jeans to US, what they have to do? That's what I said. I will keep going back to the definition of competitiveness. They have to do innovation.
They have to showcase a different kind of jeans.
Now, for example, this jeans which you are wearing, is it stretchable?
No, this is not.
But now jeans are made in a stretchable format.
Wow, okay.
So if you can do that innovation, there is a Turkish company who has done the innovation.
Okay.
And then
people are ready to pay the premium then.
Absolutely, they are paying already. So then you will be able to beat Bangladesh on price, because till then it's a labor arbitrage. You are just working on labor cost differentiation. Now suddenly when you are putting a product which is not in the market and you have innovated and you get a protection through patenting or whatever, and you are able to beat that scenario.